So you're creating content on social media, but you're not reaching the right audience. This is a problem. You will not be able to grow the social following that you are hoping to grow if you're not able to reach the right people through your content. Let's solve that issue. In today's video, I'm going to break down the exact steps for you to follow in order to increase your chances of you reaching the right audience. This video is brought to you by Uscreen. More on them later. Okay, so this step is going to feel so obvious that it might even feel a bit insulting, but regardless of how you feel, you need to follow this step. And you also need to listen to me explain the step as well, because it's more complex than you think. The first step is to actually know who your audience are. And the reason why this is more complex than you think is because most people, if I say, who's your audience, they either can't tell me much about them. They might tell me like, oh, you know, they live here, and they might know roughly how old their audience are, but they can't really tell me much else. In addition to knowing the basic information about the people you're trying to reach, you also need to understand things like, how do this group of people use social media? What type of content do they seek out? What are they interested in? What are their pain points? These are all questions that you need to be able to comfortably answer if you're ever going to be in a chance with actually reaching them properly.
You feel me?
The second thing that often happens when I say to someone like, who's your audience, is that they often get up their analytics. Now, I know you might be thinking, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? No, and here's why. You are watching this video because you want to learn how to reach your desired audience. Now, for a lot of us, our existing audience isn't our desired audience. And that could be for a multitude of reasons. It could be because maybe it was your Instagram account that you used for personal use, and now you're using it for a business or for a brand. So therefore, your existing audience right now are mostly your friends or your family. Maybe you previously were trying to target one group of people and now you're targeting someone else. Maybe you have unwantedly received a lot of attention from a group of people which you never truly wanted to receive, and the result has been that you have an audience of people who aren't the same as the people who you want to attract. So guys, I've not had lunch yet and my stomach is rumbling, so I have to keep on stopping because I don't want the mic to pick up on it. Excuse me. Regardless of which of those three things you relate to, or if you relate to any of those at all, you using your analytics to get insight into your desired audience doesn't work. We shouldn't be using our analytics. Instead, we need to be using our brains, our imaginations. And if we still feel like we're struggling to truly understand who our desired audience are and like what they're interested in, then there's a few things you can do. You can ask around. If you know someone who you think falls within your desired audience, ask them how they interact with social media. Ask them what their pain points are. Ask them about their likes and their dislikes. Alternatively, you could be a bit more immersive. Why not look at other creators who are potentially targeting a similar audience to you? Look at their content. Look at the comments. Look at how people are reacting. Look at the feedback that people are giving them, because those people might be your audience and you could often learn a lot from them. All right, so this next step is often quite difficult and I get a lot of pushback on it. But essentially, now that you understand who your audience are, you need to start speaking to them and only them. The reason why I get a lot of pushback on this is because when you start to do this, if you currently have an audience who are different from the audience you're trying to attract, you will probably see a dip in your engagement, in your reach, in all of your metrics. It will probably dip because you will no longer be creating content for your existing audience. You will now be creating content for a different audience. Regardless of this dip, it is imperative that you follow this step if you want to reach your desired audience. Let's say, for example, you want to speak to single mums who run their own business. Maybe that's the audience who you're trying to target, right? Let's also assume that previously your channel was a personal channel and actually you weren't really targeting anyone. So your existing audience are more friends and family. If you do not follow this step, if you do not switch your content to start speaking to single mums who have businesses, and instead you continue to create content for your friends and family, how on earth are the single mums who run businesses supposed to find your content, and how on earth are they supposed to realize that you're the creator for them? Because you're not speaking to them right now. So even if some miracle happens and your content starts to appear in front of your dream audience, that will go to waste because your dream audience will look at your content and think, oh, this isn't for me. This is for someone else. So you have to start creating content for them and only them. And don't worry about the drop in your reach. In a step a little bit later on, I'm going to teach you how you can combat that. Okay, so let's take a quick break to talk about what you should be doing with your audience when you reach them. Don't worry, we'll get back to the steps in just a moment. The thing is, when you follow these steps, you will start to reach your desired audience, which is all well and good and super exciting. When we get to that stage, it's important that we understand how to leverage this and how to provide more value to our community and to our audience and actually unlock an income as a return. Because yes, we could all sit here and say, we just want to grow a social media audience for the sake of it. It's all fun and games. And maybe some people do, but for a lot of us, I'm willing to bet you would love to be able to monetize your audience too. So one of my absolute favorite ways to monetize an audience through social media is to create your own membership. Now, let me tell you why I believe so strongly that having a membership as part of your business is one of the best things that you could possibly do. When you create a membership, you give your audience the opportunity to access exclusive content and also a thriving community, which they get access to in return for paying a monthly fee. So you're giving more value to your audience, and in return, you get monthly reoccurring revenue. This is one of the most important things that you can unlock for your business, because when you have reoccurring revenue, you are able to make so many financial decisions because you can bet on your future. You're not jumping from month to month, not knowing how much you're going to earn. You can actually rely on your membership to bring in consistent income. So my absolute go-to platform for creating a membership is Uscreen, and let me tell you why. If you're not familiar already, Uscreen is an all-in-one video membership platform which allows video creators to monetize their audience by building their own custom membership site. Now, I have used so many different platforms in the past to run different offers, and let me tell you, this is the platform you want to use when it comes to building a membership. It includes so many different features. For example, you're able to create like a Netflix-style browsing experience for your audience. You can also create your own mobile applications so your audience can carry you around with them as they go about their day. You get access to a bunch of analytics which really help you to optimize your membership experience. It has a built-in community hub so that your community can talk to each other. They can even share their own video content. But one of the best things about all of these features is that it's in one place. Everything I just mentioned, in addition to more features, it's all in one place. And when you create a membership using Uscreen, you're basically able to take the power back from your content and create content for your audience in your own environment. So if you want to check out Uscreen and you're interested in creating your own membership, you can book a strategy call with Uscreen via the link in my description. All right, guys. So the next step that I want you to follow in order to reach your desired audience is to send signals to whatever social media platform you're on so that they understand who your audience is. Let me just explain this because you're probably like, what on earth are you talking about? But essentially, every single social media platform has an algorithm, right? Instagram has one, TikTok has one, Pinterest has one, they all have one. YouTube has one, they all have one. And how the algorithms work is that they look for signals that the creator will send them to figure out what the creator's content is about. So in your situation, if I'm the algorithm, let's do some role play. I'm the algorithm, you're the creator, right? When you share a piece of content, I'm looking at that content to try and figure out what your content is about and who it's for. The better I understand who your audience are, the better I understand who your content is for, the more likely I am to share it with everyone. I'm going to start pushing it out on home pages, on explore pages. I'm going to make sure that your desired audience sees it because I know who they are and I know there's a big chance they're going to love it. If I don't know who your content is for, I probably won't share it with anyone because otherwise I'm just going to take your content and be like, oh my God, I don't know who's going to like this. So I'll just share it with them. Oh, they don't like it. Okay. Well, maybe I'll share it with everyone. Oh, okay, most people don't like it. Like, it makes me look bad. It makes me, the algorithm, look like I'm terrible at my job. And no one wants to feel that way, right? So make my life easier and tell me what your content is about. How do you do that? By the way, I really enjoyed that role play. I can't believe I've never done that to explain the algorithm before. I think I've missed a trick here. I'm gonna have to film an updated algorithm video. Anyway, so how do you tell me, the algorithm, what your content is about? The specifics might differ by platform, but overall, the tactics are the same. What you wanna do is make sure you've identified some words or phrases. These are also known as keywords, which describe your content and describe your audience. So for me, a keyword for my content is content creator, social media, marketing, entrepreneurship. These are all keywords because they're related to my content and they're related to my audience. Once you know what these are, you want to put them everywhere that makes sense. So if you're on YouTube, put it in your title, put it in your description. If you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, put it in your bios, put it in your hashtags, put it in your captions. The more you use it, the more likely I am, the algorithm, to pick up on these keywords and start to realize, actually, you're trying to tell me something here. You're trying to send me a signal, you know? In addition to this, other things that myself, the algorithm, tend to look at is what your content actually includes. Algorithms can look through your videos and photos and actually identify what your content is about. It can listen to the words that you're saying in your video to try and figure out what your content is about. So just be intentional when you're creating this stuff. And fortunately for you, because you've followed the first step and you've identified who your audience are, and you followed the second step and you're only creating content for them, this whole keyword optimization stuff actually should come naturally because now you're only creating content for that audience. So using these keywords is just going to become a natural thing that you do. Okay, so this final step is the one that if you manage to follow it, you will reach your desired audience. It's not a regular thing unless you want to do it regularly, but it will fast track your ability to reach your desired audience, right? And I call it manual reach. And I've spoken about it before. I talk about how I use this to grow a brand new Instagram account in depth in this video if you want to check it out. But basically, it's the process of you manually ensuring that your audience will see your content. And you can do this by getting in front of your audience via someone else's social media channel. So usually this works in the form of collaborating. Maybe you reach out to another creator who has your desired audience and you decide to shout each other out. Maybe you collaborate and create a whole video together. Maybe you go live together and that's the way that you get in front of their audience. But the main thing is you want to identify someone who has the audience you're trying to target and you want to collaborate with that person. And if you're wondering, okay, that sounds great, but how do I get people to agree? Because that's usually the hardest part. How do I do that? There's a few tips you can follow. The first thing is to identify if there's something that you could give this creator in return, especially if you're reaching out to creators or companies who have far bigger followings than you. That's okay, but think about if there's something that you could give them in return. Can you promote their product or service for them? You know, do you have some kind of expertise that you can lend to them that's going to help them with their content? Think about that and think about the value offering that you have for them. The main tip though is to ask people and ask a lot of people, because some people will ignore you, some people will agree, and some people will say no. And everyone's entitled to do all three of those things. Do yourself a favor and reach out to a few people rather than resting on your hopes on just the one creator. Okay guys, that is the end for today's video. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this one. I basically break down the exact steps you should follow if you feel like nothing is working for you on social media, if you feel like you're just really struggling to grow. Okay. If you feel like checking out Uscreen, which I'm sure you do not forget that you can book a membership strategy call with them via the link in my description. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video.